All right, let's talk about one of the most dangerous beliefs a trader can have. It's a psychological trap, really, one that's cost people fortunes and, it messes with our decision making every single day. And the funny thing is, it always starts so quietly. You know the feeling, right? It starts with something simple. Maybe it's 3 losses in a row. Now look, statistically, that's totally normal. It's just part of the game. But it's what happens inside your head right after that. Well, that's what changes everything. Yeah, you can literally feel it. Something just shifts. There's this new kind of tension building up inside you. It might be subtle at first, but oh, you know it's there. But here's the thing. The market, it hasn't changed one bit. It has no clue who you are. It couldn't care less. It's just this massive, indifferent machine of bids and asks, totally, completely unaware of how your last few trades went. Nope. The shift, it's all in you. It's this quiet, totally irrational belief that starts creeping in, right underneath all your charts and your analysis. And it whispers, the next one, it's due. And this is where it gets really tricky. You've started keeping 2 sets of books. You've got your actual financial account, right? The one that just shows a drawdown, cold hard numbers. But then there's this other account, a psychological one. And in that account, you feel like a debt has been created. You think, hey, I've paid my dues with these losses, and now you believe the market actually owes you a win to balance this invisible emotional ledger. So this feeling, this belief in some kind of cosmic balancing act, it actually has a name. And to really get it, we need to step away from the charts for a minute and travel way back in time to a casino in 1913. 26. Just burn that number into your brain. 26. That's how many times in a row the ball on a roulette wheel did something that just defied all logic, all intuition, and drove a whole lot of people completely broke. So picture this. You're at the Casino de Monte Carlo. The roulette wheel lands on black. Okay, then it lands on black again, and again, and again, and again. With every single spin, the crowd gets more and more certain. They start piling their money on red, absolutely convinced it's overdue. I mean, the logic feels bulletproof, right? Surely the universe owes them a red. But the universe, well, it didn't owe them a thing. This is what psychologists now call the gambler's fallacy. It's this deep, deep human bias, and it is totally wrong, that makes us think these independent random events are somehow connected. We imagine there's this invisible ledger in the sky that needs to balance out. But the wheel had no memory. Every spin was a completely fresh start, and that night the crowd lost millions, betting on a debt that just didn't exist. And listen, this fallacy doesn't just live in casinos. Oh no, it is alive and well at trading desks every single day. Think about it. The moment a trader, I don't care how good their system is, how tight their risk management is, the moment they think, I'm due for a win, they've crossed a line. They're not trading anymore. They're gambling. They're betting on that same invisible ledger that wiped everyone out in Monte Carlo. So how in the world do we fight against something that's so hardwired into our brains? Well, the answer isn't some new indicator or a fancy strategy. It's actually a 2,000-year-old operating system for the mind, courtesy of the Stoic philosophers. You see, the Stoics personified luck, or outcomes, as a goddess they called Fortuna. But here's the twist. They didn't worship her. They studied her. And what they figured out was that her true nature is pure random indifference. She has zero memory of your last trade. She has no preference for your strategy. She just hands out wins and losses with absolute total randomness. The Roman Stoic Seneca put it perfectly. He said, I have never trusted fortune, even when she seemed to offer peace. Now, this isn't about being a pessimist. This is about liberation. If you stop trusting fortune to be fair or kind, you stop needing her to be. You basically free yourself from that emotional roller coaster of expecting things to balance out. And this creates 2 totally different kinds of traders, right? First, you have the negotiator. This person is constantly trying to make a deal with the market. They feel like a win is owed to them after a loss. But then you have the stoic. The stoic needs absolutely nothing from the outcome. Their stability, their confidence comes from one place and one place only, the quality of their own execution. And that's because the market's results, they're not yours to control. Luck isn't yours to control. The only thing in this whole chaotic equation that you truly actually own is your process. That's it. That's the only thing.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. But how do we turn this into something we can actually use? Well, here is a really simple, practical tool to neutralize the destructive power of streaks, both winning and losing.
Because here's the thing, the danger isn't the streak itself. Streaks are going to happen. They're just a statistical fact. The real danger is the story your mind tells you about the streak. A winning streak whispers, "You've cracked the code, you're a genius," which leads to overconfidence. A losing streak screams, "This is unfair, the market owes me one," which leads to desperation. Both of those stories are pure poison. So this neutralization practice is designed to just kill that narrative before it takes hold. It's a mental reset button. After every single trade, win or lose, doesn't matter, you log it, you ask yourself one critical question, and then you just mentally let it go. You release it. The next trade, the next session starts from a totally clean slate, governed only by your rules, not by the emotional baggage of the last outcome.
And this is the question. It's not, how does this make me feel? It's not, what does this mean for my future? It is simply this. Does this single result change my tested, proven rules? And you know what? The answer should almost always be a hard no. This one question anchors you back to your process and pulls you away from your feelings. All right, let's bring this all home. I want you to think about this, and I want you to be really honest with yourself.
Think about your last really painful losing streak. You know the one, that string of losses where something inside you was just screaming, "Do something, change something." So what did you do? What did you change?
Now, be really honest here. Was that change driven by data? Was it a strategic adjustment that you had back-tested and had evidence for? Or was it an emotional reaction, a desperate attempt to settle a psychological score with a market that never even agreed to the fight?
Because here's the hard truth. Any rule you change under pressure, out of fear, or that feeling of being wronged, that's not an improvement. Not at all. That's a negotiation with fortune. You're trying to bargain with randomness. And as the Stoics warned us 2,000 years ago, that is one negotiation you will never, ever win. Because fortune, she's not at the negotiating table.